Welcome back to the James and Jaden Real Estate Podcast, where we talk about real estate and maybe whatever else comes up. How's it going, Jaden?
It's going great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. We're still in shorts up here. This is pretty awesome. We're about 10 degrees above normal for highs and lows right now up here.
So we're still in shorts too.
That's good. I'm glad you. I'm pretty sure you guys, it's maybe a week that you have to wear.
I don't actually own pants, so it's pretty much shorts all year round.
Right. Well, first of all, I guess I want to welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning back in, subscribing to our channel. Today is pretty awesome, Jaden. This is what we have been building for a long time. How to build a real estate business without starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're going to sit there and talk about it. We're going to go through it, break it down a little bit, maybe the pros and cons of. I think there's more pros. I don't even know if there's any cons, to be honest with you.
Well, we could talk about what it's like building them from scratch because we did that, so we can talk about both.
Yep. And then I guess the other thing is we do mentorship. We do something licensing. We definitely can help you out. We can get you on the success path that we've have already. We got 3 already licensees right now, right? Which is pretty awesome. We got Knoxville coming into town for another training on Monday. You're going to be back up here in Minnesota. We're going to do some more training. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
So what makes starting from scratch in this industry so intimate? I mean, like, why would somebody start from scratch versus maybe grabbing onto let me step back first. I don't think there's anything out there like that that we offer, is there?
There's different variations of things. There's different things out in the industry that people can go try for sure. Is anybody offering what we're offering? I would say no, not the way that we're doing it for sure. But if you were starting from scratch, when we started out 8 years ago or so, 9 years ago, I was looking around everything. I went to all the seminars and different things to try to find how to get started in this industry without having to just start from zero. And I went through a bunch of conference calls and different things with a couple different companies. There's one really well-known company that's been around for decades now that I got really close to working with. They're out of Texas, and they've been around for a very long time. So I don't want to say their name, but I got pretty close to the end of the process with them. They sent me a 300-page FDD document for a franchise, and
Caveman?
There might be a caveman involved.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it.
Anyway, they sent me this FDD document that's like 300 pages long, and it has all these regulations and things, which I'm not a big paperwork guy, so that's, first of all, I didn't like that very much. But what killed it for me was all their rules about how you run the business and how you do everything. And the final straw was I already owned a bunch of rental properties. I had a portfolio, and I had a portfolio of houses. And anything that I did in my rental portfolio that I already had, they were going to charge me money for. And which had nothing to do with them, but that's just how it was.
So
when they verified that they couldn't change that, I was like, well, I can't do this. I mean, I'm already in this business, I can't just pay you for stuff I'm already doing. So that wasn't workable. There was a lot of other reasons why it wasn't workable too. And I'm glad that I dodged a bullet on that, because that would have been a disaster for other reasons, as I found out later. But so I did that, or looked into that. I also looked into some different coaching programs and different education things. And there wasn't, on the coaching education side, it didn't feel like it was enough. It was kind of like, here, $5, $10, $20,000, learn some things, and then good luck is what it was. And I'm like, that's a lot of money to spend for the risk that it might not, you have no support afterwards, really.
Were you looking for somebody to hold your hand a little bit? I mean, just have that.
I just wanted to know that there was a business model that worked, and I was part of a system, is what I was looking for, being part of a system that I knew worked.
Okay. Yep.
That's what I wanted. And I'm like, I want to just go to work every day and know what I'm doing is, working and it's going to be productive and generate income. And I didn't find it. I mean, that's the caveman thing was the closest thing I found, and it wasn't workable. Everything else I found wasn't even in the ballpark of that. It was more on this education stuff. And I've done a lot of education over the years. And some of it's good, some of it's bad. But overall, what I've found is that My experience with education has been, for the amount of money that the education costs, you can usually hire the person that's already an expert in that thing to just do that thing for you for the same price as the education. That's what I've found. So if it's $10,000 to learn how to buy foreclosures, for instance, you can probably find someone that does foreclosures all day to help you for $10,000. That's what I found. So it's just better to spend the money on just actually doing business than it is on learning about something. And I'm not against education, because some education's good, but that's been my general experience with it. So I think the money's better spent on things that are with ongoing support, like coaching, systems, actual business systems and processes. That's where the money is better invested, because you're going to actually be doing business. Education isn't doing business. So that's been my experience, at least.
Right. So we're going to talk about starting from scratch and the pros and cons, and we're going to talk about a little bit of buying into the home guys way, and where we think, what am I trying to say here? Buying into the home guys way, and we call it Home Guys Nation. Again, like I said, there's 4 franchises, including Minnesota, that are in this, or licensees that are in this group. And what we're slowly creating is a Home Guys Nation, right?
Yeah.
So that's the.
We actually, just to add to that, when we started 9 years ago, we started with the intent to do this eventually, and because we were like, there's obviously a hole in the market, there's no alternatives to this one company, it seems. And so we're like, well, let's create the alternative then. And so from the beginning, we started this with that intent. It took us a few years to get there because we had to figure all of this out. I mean, it probably took us 6 or 7 years to be to the point where we felt like we could help somebody else do this. So it wasn't easy, but it was always the intent. We trademarked our name right away nationally. We did all the things to protect the brand from the beginning so that we could do this nationally 9 years ago.
So what we're doing is let's tell everybody initially what the vision was when we first started, right? When we first started, we came out with the name Home Guys, knowing that it was that we could put a name in front of it, a state or a city. Now, if everybody remembers what about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that was that whole where everybody would buy a t-shirt and write, their state would be across it and they would write home. So that's not where we got the home. We got the home from, this is what we do. But yeah. Our vision, Jada and I, it's pretty cool. We've 100% have been pretty much on the same darn vision, is let's grow Minnesota, but let's have the option of, the vision was go bigger, right? Because you always want to dream bigger. Well, that was when it happened, what 2.5, 3 years ago, when people finally started reaching out for us, and when we started this process of building up the Home Guys Nation. We had a gentleman, it's actually Knoxville guys. They're the ones that came in, and they just wanted training. They just wanted mentorship. And that's when it opened our vision back up. We're like, hey, Jaden, what if we offer these guys a licensing where they can run the business, whatever they want to do down in Knoxville, just don't tarnish the name, but you have the executive support from somebody who's already doing it.
I would say it's almost like there's some corporate back-end support, call it corporate or whatever you want to call it. There's some,
as much as we don't like corporate, we all know that.
There's some back-end support system behind you. It's the staff behind you, and there's systems and processes behind you. There's branding behind you. There's marketing behind you. All the vendors. This stuff's all set up and proven out over, almost a decade now. And so when you start off with this, you're starting off with this like army of people behind you that are already doing all these things. So it's not an education system to teach you how to do it. I mean, you have to learn your part of it. But the thing I hate about these education programs is like, here, you buy my course on how to become an expert marketer. Well, why would you do that? There's already an expert marketer out there. Just hire them. And that's what we do. So I don't want to be the expert on SEO and PPC and TV and all that. I want to find the expert with 20 years of experience, because even if I take a course, I'm not going to have 20 years of experience in the trenches doing that. I'm never going to get to that point of where they're at with it. So I've just learned the whole education stuff is a little bit of a scam, kind of.
It's been like that years, whether you're in real estate, I mean, there's so many other.
It sucks because I mean, education is valuable, but in this business, your education, like in our model, your education is how do you be the operator of this business? You have to learn how to be the operator of the business. You don't need to be the expert at every little thing.
No.
In fact, if you try to be, you're going to fail. So you have to find the people that are the experts, and we have all of them, obviously. So you don't need to find them. You just work with the people that we've vetted and worked with over the years, and we've spent years and years, working with people, and then upgrading, and then working with people, and then upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. So you've got, almost a decade of us upgrading and figuring out how to do things better, and it just gets better every year or two. We get better at everything.
I try to tell everybody that we're the ones that try to go learn something first, and then we hand it off to our licensees.
Right.
Right.
So we're always upgrading and improving. We're always trying new things. And once we find something that works, then because some of the stuff doesn't work. I mean, we take risks and sometimes they don't work out. I mean, honestly, let's say sometimes, like probably 2/3 of the time they don't work out. But 1/3 of the time they do. And that third, once we've vetted it and proven it, then we're going to hand that down to the licensees.
Right. But that's one of the reasons why we thought about building something like this in the very beginning is how much money did we throw out the window when we were doing stuff? I mean, I
tell people it's millions of dollars that we've spent. That's the truth. Because if you look at our marketing budget, it's been at $1 million a year for quite a few years. Just in marketing. That's just in marketing. That's not even all the other stuff that we do.
Right.
Now we got to $1 million because we had proven out we're not wasting $1 million a year in marketing, of course. But how much did we actually lose in waste before we got there? I mean, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars we wasted risking, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Right.
And at this point, we've spent well over $5 million in marketing, maybe close to $10 million in marketing. So, could you figure this out on your own? Yeah. I mean, it might take you $10 million to figure it out on your own. Honestly, that's what it took us. And we're pretty smart, I think. So,
right.
It wouldn't, if this was available, it wouldn't have made sense for us to go figure all that out on our own. It would be a lot cheaper.
You would have totally paid that.
I mean, do I want to go did I want to spend $10 million in marketing? No, I didn't want to do that. But there wasn't really another option.
So, we're talking about like starting from scratch. If you were to start from scratch, like, what are some of your other like roadblocks that you're going to have? Where, again, I want you to tell the roadblocks you have, and then maybe I can come back in and tell you that's not a roadblock.
It's crazy. We've been in this so long that sometimes I think we forget. But every little thing in your business, when you're starting out, you don't know any of it. So every time you take a step in your business, you don't know what to do. And you're just questioning, like, well, how do I walk up to the seller's door? What do I say to them? What do I bring for paperwork and collateral? What kind of, everything you do. When they do agree to sell me the house, how do I execute the paperwork with them? And every step of the process, you're just guessing.
Right.
And it's like, man, it's a lot of, and you're going to guess wrong a lot too. So it's just a lot to figure out without a process. It's just to follow. I mean, that's my opinion. We went through all the bruises to figure it out, obviously, because we had no choice. But I don't know. How do you feel? You were there at the beginning. Do you feel like we were guessing a lot? That's what I felt like.
To be honest with you, Jaden, everything was moving so fast. I just still remember the story of you coming in and go, all right, I just signed it's going to cost us $10,000 a month. We're going to do TV. And I'm like, really? $10,000? Okay. But what was really neat about that is we jumped on TV right away, and we had a list of like when it would actually play. So we knew that the phone could be ringing. And I kid you not, the first phone call, the first commercial played, we got a phone call. No, it wasn't a seller. It was actually a carpet company, a flooring company selling their services. Hey, I see you advertising on TV. So Not only does it work for finding sellers, it also works for finding vendors also.
Yeah. When we started TV, we had they told us to commit 6 months to it. So $60,000 to commit to it. And we didn't know if it was going to work. We didn't have any information telling us for sure it would or not. and we had to create our own commercial because, we didn't have any commercial. Nobody gave us a commercial to use. So we created our own commercial, which was not proven. And yeah, we took a big risk. I mean, it was a $60,000 risk. And I looked at it like, well, we do 6 months of TV. This is my thought process. We try it out, do it for 6 months. And if we get 1 or 2 houses out of it, hopefully we'll break even on it, was my thought. And it turned out it worked. Our commercial worked out really well. And it worked very well just from right away. But we didn't know that. It was a risk we took, and it worked out.
Right. What are the risk, like financially and personally, when you're starting up something like this, whether you join our team or whether you start it up on your own? Because I mean, I'll set you up maybe a little bit more. I mean, you're quitting a job. Now, how do you qualify for loans sometimes when you quit a job? That's my side of it. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people out there will teach you how to do this with very little money. I will tell you, it can be done with very little money, but there's a lot of hustle in it.
It's very difficult. I was an engineer for years, and I was an engineer sales for Intel when I quit. That was my last job, my last corporate job, and I was used to having a W-2 paycheck every 2 weeks. My whole adult life, I had a W-2 paycheck every 2 weeks. I had benefits, a paycheck. On Monday, I woke up and I knew what I was doing on Monday because somebody was telling me what to do on Monday. I knew where I was going, and that I just didn't have to figure much out, And when I left that, there's a few different risks involved. I think the risk that bothered me the most was not having a paycheck every 2 weeks because I had a young family of 2 young kids and a wife.
Right.
And actually, when I decided to quit my job, my wife wasn't working at the time, but she went back to work around the same time that I quit, so to try to bring some income into the family. And so that's the biggest thing for me is like, how quickly can I get to an income, and how quickly can I get to like a reliable, steady, predictable income that I can count on? That's the biggest risk for me. The second risk was when you're starting a business, you're investing money into it. I was less worried about this, but you're going to put money out into something and you may not get it back. And so that was the second risk, but I was okay with that. Like I was okay with, I'll put money in and it may not come back. The thing that scared me more was my time. So that's the 2 major things. And then I think maybe the third risk is like, what do you do with your time and how do you manage your time effectively? Because it's totally in your control now. And how do you motivate yourself and manage yourself and get yourself to be productive on Monday morning and get after it and hustle? Because no one else is. If it's your business and it's a small business, it's pretty much you. It's you driving it. So that's a huge risk as well.
It's definitely a huge risk. And again, I think that's what we're trying to even the curve buying into our system, right? I mean, it's something where you have the guidance. We have the proven track record.
What I would have liked to have had is like, okay, when I wake up on Monday morning, I know what I need to do. I have a process and system to follow. I do this, and that. I invest this much money. This is probably how much money will come back. This is when it will come back. This is the ramp to be getting a stable income. This is how this all works. And I have it's all kind of like somewhat laid out in front of me. We didn't have that. I just had a void of no information in front of me.
Did we wing it?
It was just I mean, I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot and just had faith that it would work out. But I had no idea when I could pay myself like a paycheck.
You guys, it took us. Go ahead. Sorry.
I quit my job in August of 2016, and I didn't take a paycheck. I didn't take any sort of paycheck until January of 2018. So almost a year and a half before I paid myself a paycheck, kind of a wage thing. And when I started that, I wasn't sure if it would be able to continue or not. I thought within a month or two I'd have to shut it off again because the company wouldn't be able to afford it. But ever since January 2018, I've not had to not pay myself. I've been able to pay myself a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Yep, and that feels good.
It does, yeah.
That feels really good. Hey, we're gonna keep moving down because I know we can talk a lot about this stuff. I would even love to break it down of like what you need, to be successful in capital and all that. Maybe we can bring that on another show, and Brady can put some numbers up on the boards and how to what you need to do to get started. But we'll dive into that some other time. Basically, the value of plugging into a proven model. Plugging in. You want to give a definition of that, Jaden?
Well, like I was saying here, kind of, I mean, it's a little bit like when you get a job, you're taking over a position that's already there. It's defined. This is kind of the stuff you do. These are the people you work with. This is how you interact with them. So if you're coming from a job, you're kind of used to that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's more what we're trying to replicate is like, of course, you don't want to take another job, right? You left a job for a reason. But you still need some of that structure and that knowledge that a job provides. So like, how do you fit into the system? What are your responsibilities and roles? What do you do on a daily basis? And how do you interact with these other people, these other support systems? That's huge to know that. I mean, otherwise you're just guessing and trying to figure it out. I mean, with no knowledge of how it will end up or if you'll be successful or not. Right. And when you hear things like, 90 or 99% of startup businesses fail, I think it might be like 99%. It's very high.
But those are the startup when they're starting from fresh, right? They're not
from scratch. If you start from scratch, I think the fail rate is very high. It's over 90% for sure. Right. Within the first 7 years, it might be over 95%. So the fact that we're still in business, honestly, is a bit of a miracle. Because the stats would tell you that that's not normally how it works out. So we did something right. We sent them enough prayers, apparently.
Right. So if somebody was to grab our system like this, I mean, what's the why would they hesitate to grab our system? I guess
I think this is one mindset I was remembering when I was, working a job before I got into business not for myself, but got into business like this. I remember thinking like, man, like the mentality in my mind of things was like, well, that's expensive, or I can't afford that, or my mindset's totally shifted. I'm like calling things expensive now. Well, if something makes you more money than it costs, is it expensive? Yeah. My mindset now is no, that's very inexpensive. But if something costs $1 million, is that expensive? It would seem expensive. What if it made you $1.1 million? Is it still expensive? And my mindset now is, well, it doesn't seem very expensive. If it makes you more money than it costs, it seems like a pretty good deal. And that's an investor business mentality. But I didn't have that mentality quite yet when I first started out with all this. So I think the hesitant I had was, just that they just sound expensive. Like $60,000 for TV sounded expensive. I think part of it was I didn't know for sure if I'd get the money back or not. I mean, that was also part of it. If I had known I'd get more than 60 grand back, it would have been a little easier.
Right.
But with some knowledge and some more certainty, those things that seem expensive should not seem expensive if you have some knowledge around what kind of returns they provide.
Right. When you're leveraging a proven model, saving time. Okay, let me put this back. How does leveraging a proven model save time and money? And again, I don't want you to answer at that. I want you to put it in perspective for our audience members. Okay, so what we're handing them now took us. I mean, I don't want to say 8 years, but
it did.
But it did, right? It did kind of.
If you look at the latest version of essentially look at our business as like kind of like software. We're on version 11.5 now of what we're doing. Now, do we have a good profitable business system 5 years ago? Yeah. But what we're providing today is version 11.5 of this system that works even.
It's not the same business, is it?
It's a much better, more solid business now than it was 5 years ago. We don't, so that's what we're providing today's business and everything we've learned up to today.
I like that you say that because it's always going to change with the times or the cycles of everything that's
it's kind of like software. It's constantly being revised. It's constantly being updated.
So you come in as a new licensees, you're not getting 3 years shit. Sorry, 3 years stuff.
Well, the stuff that happened 3 years ago may not even work anymore. It may not even work anymore. It's same with software. Software that's 3 years old. At some point, it gets to the point where it's not even functional anymore. And I think the business systems is the same thing. Like if you don't update your business systems and processes, you're going to be on the way out the door. and within a couple
Okay,
of years, it's not going to work anymore.
So I'm gonna ask the question again now that we kind of defined it a little bit more. What if somebody buys into our systems 100% in? Where do you see them in 3, 6, and 9 months?
I mean, it totally depends on what their goals are and what they want to put into it.
Okay, I was leaving you a little.
Like, where could they be?
Perfect.
I mean, where could they be? I think if you came in with the right goals and resources, et cetera, you could do $1 million your first year very easily in gross profit.
Knoxville did pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean, so I would say I don't like. There's a huge range because it's like what resources do you have, what experience do you have, who are you? Do you have partners that are helping you? What kind of financial capacity do you have?
It is kind of a question. I get it.
But if you came in with guns ablazing and really wanted to build a big business fast, I mean, it's $1 million would be low. You could do millions in gross profit within 12 months. You could, but you'd have to have the financial resources and some experience and know what you're doing, and you'd probably have some people working with you, not just you by yourself, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, if you're coming in just you and limited financial resources, et cetera, and how much time you want to put into it, it's going to be how fast do you want to move, what are your goals, and what can you put into it? Because it's really business. It's like a machine that one of our first seminars we went to is like they explain it like this. It's a machine that if you had an ATM machine where you put $1 into it and it spits out $3, what do you do with that ATM machine?
Continue to put more money into it.
Do you just keep putting $1 into it at a time, or do you find a way to get more than $1 to put into it?
Do you want me to answer?
Sure.
You put more.
You get a dump truck of dollars and you bring the dump truck over and dump it.
You get the dollars that have a couple extra zeros on it. And
the ATM machine can't handle a dump truck. Okay, we need another ATM machine then. Yeah. That's kind of how this business works. So you have to get the ATM machine working first. That's the business systems and processes that we have. It's an ATM machine. It's an ATM machine that spits out more money than you put into it, is what it is. But you got to set it up first. And once it's set up and running, then you go, how many dollars can I put into this thing before it malfunctions or stops, before it gets over capacity, right? Because the machine's only so big. Then once you get to capacity, you go, okay, this thing is putting out as much as it can do. How do I make this machine bigger? Or do I need to get another machine? And then you go, this one's working good. Let's get another one. Or let's make it bigger. And that's basically how the business works.
I always use that. Everybody's like, how do you grow your business? And, give them a little tip, right? I mean, this is, it's the same kind of concept, right? Hey, if you put $10,000 in a hopper over here and that $10,000 creates $30,000, it's your ATM. I'm just giving it in different terms. You put $10,000 in, it creates $30,000. Well, guess what? You're going to want to repeat that. So now you put 20 and you make 60. You put 30, you make 90, right? But you hit it right. There is a final, like, you're putting too much in and you're not going to get the return back.
The machine's only so big, right?
Right.
So we've had to, over time, make our machine bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. And then it's like, okay, how do we add more machines to this? Go into other markets, add on other business units other things that we do in the business. So that's to add on other machines.
You really didn't answer the question, and
what was the question?
the question is more or less, if they start from scratch versus buying our system, how long is it going to take them to get?
I mean, honestly, the true honest answer, and this is as honest as I can be about it. If you start from scratch in this business, I think you won't be in this business in 3 years. I really don't.
I know. I think it's even sooner than that because I
think it's 12 months. We've seen it so many times. And I'm not saying that we're superheroes or we're special or anything. I think it was a combination of we didn't know any better and we got it at a pretty good time and we were well capitalized and maybe a lot of luck and grace of God that went with us as well. But if we were starting out today with no help, I don't know that we would be successful, honestly. Right. The market's gotten a lot more competitive. Isn't that weird to say that, like, these guys that have figured this out, starting today without what we have now, probably wouldn't be successful. And that's the honest truth of it. So if you started out if you're not getting help from somebody, I really don't think you're going to make it. I don't think so.
So what I would like to tease everybody with it too is, not only are we helping them out with, like, hey, finding deals and structuring, more important stuff, the half of the business, right? Leads managers, who to hire first, training for acquisitions people. Like we do predictive index. I want to know how long that person's going to be in that job. So predictive index is
personality test.
Thank you. And it's not necessarily going to say, can you do the job or not? Can you do the job long term? Are you going to continue to like to do the job? So we want to make sure somebody, if they're coming in for a position, we want to find out what their personality is, because you might not want to stay answering the phones for more than 6 months. That you're going to get burnt out, and we don't want you to get burnt out. We want you to love our job. Our retention rate here is very, very high because we use that predictive index. It puts you in the right spot in our company.
Well, we also use it for licensees, for the owners of the licensee, so they understand their personality profile and their aptitudes, and that they end up, because most people don't know. And so we tell them, like, this is the role that you should provide in your company, and you should stay out of all this other stuff. As a small business owner, you would naturally just be involved in everything. But you really shouldn't be. You should focus on what you're good at and find other people to do the stuff that they're good at. That's how you grow the business.
So, one of the things is like one of the things we were taught was we got a mentor, right? We were past this stage and we got a mentor. How has that mentor helped us grow, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that told us to do a few little quick changes in our business, and that was easy to grow. I like to think that these licensees have us at any time to access us. We are those experts. We're there to help you grow.
Yeah. We do mentorship and coaching just on its own as well. So if somebody just wants to do that, we can certainly provide that. But the main thing that we're providing is this licensing model. We actually started out with the licensing model by doing coaching and mentoring first. And we just found out we could only help them so much without just giving them all the systems and stuff that we have. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where the genesis of this happened, was out of necessity to help these coaching clients that we had.
Right. And I guess I kind of like it, how it came to be, because it wasn't us forcing anything. We put that in the back burner. That was kind of like a long stretch goal at the time. Because again, you don't want to start a business and then all of a sudden say, I'm going to go license it right away. We wanted to, you guys, here's what we want to do. We want to be the true, and I almost hate the word guru, because I don't like that, but we want to be the true guru, I'm going to say it, that does the business and teaches the business. Because what we're finding, that there's a lot of people out there, would you agree, Jaden, that say they can coach you, I already did that for 10 years. I don't need to do that anymore. I can just coach.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't you want somebody that's doing it?
Yeah, the majority of the people you'll come across, actually, I think, are generally not in the business. People that are teaching it or coaching it or whatever are actually not in the business anymore. Some of them never were in the business. They've just found out that it pays better to sell coaching or education. It's actually kind of a little bit rare to have people actually running this business still and to be, doing coaching on it as well. And I think that's pretty huge, because the business changes so much. If you've got somebody, a coach or mentor, that's not in the business day-to-day actively, they're not going to have their finger on the pulse of what's going on today. And it changes constantly on a weekly and monthly basis. It's constantly changing. So that would be not of very much value if the person's not in the business.
Right.
So yeah, I don't like the word guru. I would say, mentor is probably a better word to use. Mentor or coach.
Right. I agree with you on that.
So yeah, we're mentoring and coaching from a place of, we are in this every day. This is what we do.
Right.
Full-time business that does this every day. And when we do mentor or coach calls, we're taking time out of our active business to do those calls.
Yep. But here's the funny part. We like solving problems, don't we?
I love it. Yeah, I really do.
I mean, that's literally what we do. If some of you guys know me, I was a firefighter for almost 20 years. I put out fires, and I feel like we just put out different kind of fires now, right?
Business. Yeah, business fires.
But so, hey, why do we say licensing versus franchising? And do you want to explain that? And you explain And then I'll pop back in too, because
so
I like it better than franchising myself.
Sure.
But.
Yeah. Well, I think us, like everybody else, knew what franchising was. So when we first started out, it was like, hey, we had this idea of doing something national when we first started out. So it was like, let's talk to a franchise attorney and make sure we get this stuff set up properly from the start so that we can franchise this later. And that's all I understood. So I called a franchise attorney in Wisconsin, and he said, I'd really recommend you don't do franchising, that most of his successful clients are doing licensing, which he calls franchising light. And I think, honestly, it was just like we just happened to call the right guy, and he explained it to us. And he explained it to us why franchising is really burdensome for everybody involved. Mm-hmm. And I saw it firsthand with the franchise I looked at buying. The regulations are very steep. That's why those FDD documents are hundreds of pages long. And so he recommended this like licensing model, which he called franchise light. So it's like, how do you provide all the value that somebody wants from a franchise without all the garbage that they don't want, right? That was kind of the idea. So with my experience of almost buying a franchise, I had a pretty good idea of all the stuff I didn't want, and I had a good idea of what I did want, and I had an idea of like what I think the cost structure should look like versus what it does look like for franchises, which is pretty burdensome usually. Mm-hmm. So licensing is like, it's a much leaner cost structure. It's almost no regulation. It's kind of like it's an agreement between two companies is what it is. The government's not involved for the most part, which is nice. With franchising, the government is very involved. And I don't know about you, but I don't need the government involved in my stuff personally. Doesn't usually help.
That's a whole different podcast.
Doesn't usually help. So licensing gets the government out of it. And it's a very simple document. Our licensing document is a few pages. It's like 3 or 4 or 5 pages. It's just pretty much plain English. You don't need to be a lawyer to understand it. You're not signing away your firstborn kid to, agree to it. The cost structure is a fraction of what franchising costs. And I don't know the franchise I had looked at. I mean, I think we might be 90% less expensive than what that franchise is. And that's pretty shocking,
We're trying to build like empire, or not even empire, a nation. We want to build.
Well, we want our people to be successful. Like, we don't want people to work with us and not be successful.
Right.
And most franchises don't care. As long as you send them the money, it's not their problem whether you're successful or not. At the end of the month, you need to send them the franchise fee that you owe them, which is very hefty usually. And if you can't afford it, then that's your problem, and you're going to go out of business. And they don't care. But we care, and we have no interest in working like that. So we only want to work with people that are going to be successful. If we feel like someone can't be successful, we're not going to work with them, because it's not going to help us at all.
So what Jaden is saying is we interview you at the same time you're interviewing
and
us.
Not just on a barrier of success, but also on values as well, because we don't want to work with people that don't align with our values.
Yep.
And that's another thing with the franchises. They, again, kind of don't care. As long as you pay them money, they don't care. But we do. We want to work with people that we like, that we align with values-wise, that we're not going to have conflicts and problems with. And so we are interviewing our coaching clients and licensees, and they have to have the values that we believe in. Otherwise, they're not coming in.
So one of the things I always like to tell people too is, I know you said it in a little, I'm just going to even dumb it down even more. License versus franchising is, we know that Minnesota is different than Texas. We know Minnesota is different than the East Coast. And I want somebody to have a structure of a business, but it's going to be ran a little bit different on the East Coast as it is in the West, or in Minnesota. I'll give you a quick example. I learned a lot when I was down in Florida when we were flipping a couple houses down where Jaden lives during COVID. And I realized that you're dealing with different people all over the United States. And so you're dealing with people from the East Coast and you're dealing with people from the Midwest. Well, I'm from the Midwest, so I'm going to talk Midwestern. Everything's nice, everything's quiet, everything. Oh, sure, yeah, we could do that. Well, when I'm up against somebody from the East Coast, let's just call it Jersey or, New York or somewhere in there, you got to have grit. And that's when I learned that I actually had to maybe call the guy a dumbass, or, I think you got something stuck up your ass there, buddy, because that's not the way, how this is going to happen. As soon as I changed the way I spoke, I got the deal. So I'm like, wait a minute. if you do a franchise model, you're now doing everything exactly the same, right? Because that's what a franchise is supposed to be. Well, licensees, I want you to take, the back end, and I want you to do whatever you need to do on the front end to get the deal. Again, people don't come to Minnesota and try to talk like they're from the East Coast, because we will boot your butt out of the house, right? So I like to give that example. So back to the licensees, is it just makes it so you can make it your own for your area. And
also, you may have an interest in doing something a little different than what we do, some other business unit or some other way of doing things that you like a little bit better for your personality or whatever. Yep. We're open to it. We just basically, we're going to give you a model that's successful, that works. Here's the stuff that works. You can take that and build on it. The main rules are, don't tarnish our brand. Don't do things that are unethical or illegal. But if you want to do something a little bit different or add on to it, make it your own, we're not going to stop you from doing that, as long as you're not breaking any rules, laws, or ethics, or our values. Yeah. All right, James. So I've got a question for you, James. So when somebody signs up to be a licensee with us, what exactly are they getting? We talk about systems and processes, the community, all that kind of stuff. What are they getting?
They're getting me.
That's it. Is that
it? They don't what? No. Just to be all serious, everybody knows, you guys, I'm a jokester, and you're getting so much. Let's start back. First of all, you are getting me, and you're getting Jaden. We're there to get you going, get you excited about the business. We're getting the processes and procedures. You're getting all the SOPs that you need to build a business, all the job descriptions that you need to build a business. You're getting purchase or PAs, purchase agreements. You're going to learn all about dispoing on the, God, Jaden, help me out here.
Selling wholesale deals?
Yeah, selling wholesale deals. And again, the greatest part about it is at any time you can grab whoever's in that department, you can grab that person and you can pick that person's brain, because
from our company. So you're not just getting access to me and James, you're getting access to our specialists, because me and James we're not doing the individual roles anymore. We've actually replaced ourselves with people that are better at them than we are. So for example, he's a dispoing wholesale deals, selling a wholesale property. We have people that just do that all day, and they're better at it than we've ever been at it. So when you start getting into selling your own wholesale deals, marketing them, and building a buyer's list, we're going to have you talk to those people that do that function. And if you hire someone to do that, then we're going to connect your person with our person, so they can get trained up on how to do that properly. And that's the same with every other aspect of the company, with the acquisitions agents, with our marketing people, with our office people, our financial accounting
out there,
people.
and then you throw some more stuff out there too. You're going to get the people that we do loans through. You're going to get access to that. We have vendors, guys, that stuff that we don't even use, but we know that works in the South versus the North. We have access to all those vendors. You guys, we're a one-stop shop now. You're literally going to us and we're saying, this is where we're successful. We're using this person. We're using this person for SEO. We're using this person for PPC. We're using, whatever, you get all of that. And one of the things that we try to do is set you up. So, again, we want to make sure you're successful. I think that's probably Jada and I's fault is, and I know it sounds weird, but a lot of people don't care if you're not successful. I think you already mentioned that before. They just want to see the dollars. We actually care. We take it to heart. Now, should we? Probably not, but we want to see you succeed. That's 100%. And we're going to do absolutely anything and everything that we can to make sure you succeed. But you got to put the work into it too, right? We're not going to do anything for you. We're going to put the tools in front of you to succeed.
A couple of things I would want to mention is that on the financing side, this gets asked a lot from potential licensees, is what we have to offer for financing. So we have a couple companies that are nationwide that, because we do so much business, we're getting basically 100% financing from these companies, and our licensees will get access to those companies. when you're first starting off, depending on your experience level, you may not get full 100% right away. But because you're working with us and you're under our umbrella, you're going to get better terms from those companies, and you're going to ramp into 100% financing a lot quicker because of us. So that's number one. Is we already have a couple companies doing that. We also have experience with working with private lenders, so we can help you find private lenders. Private lenders are just people with like quite a bit of money. Usually, people that have a few $1,000,000 that will do mortgages on flips or rentals. They're very easy to work with, just cash investors essentially. And so we can help you figure that out, find some private lenders in your area. The third thing is that we've built an investment fund where we have private investors that just put equity into our fund, and we can lend that out on deals. Now, we haven't been lending that out across the country yet. We may do that in the future, but we can certainly help you build your own fund. So we have a PPM document that we spent, $50,000 with the SEC attorneys getting all structured properly, and you can use our PPM, and you'll probably just spend maybe $1,000 or $2,000 updating the legal document for your company, and you can raise your own fund, and we can show you how to do that. So once you've got a couple $100,000 or a few $100,000 in your own fund of investors, you can just go do your own deals, and you won't need money. You won't need private lenders or anybody else anymore. So that's pretty huge. I think the community we're building is pretty huge too. We've got, we've been in this for almost a decade, but some of these other guys working with us are newer that have 2 years of experience or 1 year or less than 1 year. So we've got a broad array of people that are part of the community now. So as you're getting started, you can talk to people. They might be 6 months ahead of you or a year or two ahead of you, because me and James have forgotten all this stuff already. We're 8 years beyond where you might be starting out at. So it might be helpful to talk to somebody that's 2 years in that just went through it. And
of course you have access to all those guys too.
Yeah. So because sometimes we're in year 9 of the business, working on the year 9 problems, and some of the.
What year are we in? I've heard 8, 9, and 10. I mean,
2016 is when I started, but you started in 2017, so that might be why we don't know exactly how many years it's been. So, so you have the community access, our vendors. So the other thing I was going to say is when you first start out, the biggest thing when you first start out a business is how do you get to revenue as quickly as possible? Because when you leave your job and you get your last paycheck, at least for me, what's on my mind is how quickly can I get paid again? Like that's the most important thing. How many days until I get paid again? And so in this business, once you get started with us, we turn on the pipeline of the revenue pipeline immediately, even before you're set up. So one of the first things we're going to do is start getting you leads immediately, before your website's even ready, before you have anything in place. We're going to start getting leads, because once the leads start coming in, you have a revenue pipeline going. And there's a certain amount of days between when the lead comes in to when you can get a deal to when you can get paid. And
we have all those statistics for you.
30 to 60 days, depending on the lead source. So when you start getting leads, you can get a paycheck within, say, 2 months. You can start getting a paycheck, or get paid. I shouldn't call it a paycheck. It's not a paycheck. You're just going to get some money, not in the form of paycheck, obviously. You're going to make some money in your business, and then you can use that money to pay yourself something or to hire staff or whatever else you want to do with it.
Right.
But I think getting that pipeline turned on and getting it ramped up and rolling as quickly as possible is really important.
Right. Hey, we're going to wrap things up here, but before we continue to start wrapping things up, what's the first thing that somebody's watching this? How do you get that motivated listener to what's the next call to action for that person?
I mean, I think the call to action is if you're interested in getting this business, in the real estate investing business, specifically what we do, your options are there. You don't have a ton of options, and I'm not saying that to scare people. It just is what it is. You've got us. You've got the caveman company, like I talked about. There's a couple others in the industry that are doing different things, a little bit differently than we are, that you can talk to as well. But yeah, talk to a few different companies. I think you should talk to us if you're interested. Get on a call with me or James or Jen, our office manager, and you can find us. There's a QR code on the screen here. You can scan that to get a hold of us, or find us on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I think, James, are you on LinkedIn? I don't know.
I am. It's probably a goofy picture.
Probably don't check that often though. Facebook's probably a better point. But you can call our home guys website too and just get a hold of us that way too.
Right.
So lots of different ways to get a hold of us. But yeah, if you're interested in the real estate investing industry, I would highly advise you to not do it by yourself. I don't think that's a good way to go at all. So find somebody to work with, or a company or a system to work with, and go work that system. And if you want to talk to us, reach out and have a conversation.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't really have much on there. I mean, I think we just pretty much, I think we could have dove into a bunch of other little things, but that's kind of in a nutshell, guys, what we have. I mean, by all means, reach out. Maybe we should have started a little bit. We are a wholesale flipping real estate company. What I like to tell people is we are a full solution real estate company. You have an issue, you have a problem, we can solve it. Anywhere from going through a foreclosure, going through a divorce, a death, an inheritance of a property. We are your people. We are the people that take care of that, and we help solve people's problems at the end of the day. And probably one of the biggest rewards that I can say that I get when I solve somebody else's problems is I solved their problems, and now I made their life easier, because you guys, it's not easy to sell a house that's 30, 40 years old, that's been in the family, that's seen death, that's seen life, that's seen parties, that's seen all this kind of action. Be passionate, and because they're going through a lot of crap right now. So we teach a lot of that too. That's one of our main things. We teach people how to be a little more empathetic about what's going on. You get deals guys that way too. So I want to thank everybody. Jaden, you got anything else?
Yeah, I would just maybe add to that. I think one of the things we've always done from the beginning is try to be a better cash buyer. And part of our vision for being nationwide is that this industry has a lot of less than reputable operators in it, and people that are in these situations are vulnerable frequently. And so we want to be a good force for good in the industry, and all of our licensees to provide a good, valuable service to their community, so that people have a good option to call when they need help, that they're not stuck working with a scammy real estate company,
Right. Well, Jaden, like always, it was a pleasure having you on.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love doing this, man. This is awesome. And for everybody out there, hey, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for listening to us. And just remember, everybody, do the right thing. The money will follow. Have a good day.